Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, plant manager saw bag of food in fridge, thought the food fairies left it for her to pilfer. Entitled teenagers want to keep their unborn children. Entitled nurse was out to get me. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Plant manager saw bag of food in fridge, thought the food fairies left it for her to pilfer. This was 20 plus years ago, but I'll never forget it. I used to work in the office of a manufacturing plant. There was a group of us, for females, that would pitch in to buy lunch stuff to hold us through the week. We would make a list on Friday and one of us, usually me, would shop on Monday morning and bring it in with us. We even brought in a sandwich maker and toaster to keep us from getting bored. We had been doing this for months when suddenly the food wouldn't last through the week. The first time we chalked it up to us being hungrier than normal and moved on. By week 3, we decided that we just need to buy more stuff, and we did. But again, it ran out fast and we were really confused. One day I went to grab something from the break room and there are all our bags on the table and the plant manager making a ridiculously large sandwich. When I asked what she was doing, she said making a sandwich. I asked if anyone told her that she could make lunch from our stash. She said no and went on to say she found these bags of groceries and had been doing it for weeks. I let her know that the groceries were ours because we were trying to save money, but now we know why our food was running out so fast. She said she didn't know they were ours. She just thought someone bought them for everyone. I asked why she didn't find out who they belonged to first, and she looked at me like a deer in headlights. When I let my coworkers know, they were pissed. One of them said she knew they were our groceries because she had asked my coworker why she had so much food one day. We stopped the lunch group that week and started bringing food from home. A couple weeks later, the plant manager asked me where our groceries were. I let her know that we couldn't afford to keep feeding people that made more than we did. Edit time because I left there in 2002 and didn't math right. I worked in many different places but never encountered a person that ignorant about food in a refrigerator. I was blown away by her response. She was buddies with the owner, so she felt like she could do whatever she wanted. I love your response to her. She should have bought you all lunch to pay you back, but that would require her not being cheap. I was pissed that she had the nerve to keep looking for our food. I used to live near the biscuit factory, so used to run a 2 kilograms box of biscuits pool for the staff bitchy stash. Great mix of custard creams, cookies and chocolate covered biscuit bars. After a while though, everyone stopped paying in because of boring biscuits. This I was offended by, those boxes were banging value. So I staked out the box, and one fateful afternoon caught a secretary stuffing all the chocolate biscuits into a bin bag. Caught red-handed, her excuse was they were for her children's lunchbox. She didn't last long. The absolute cheek. Entitled teenagers want to keep their unborn children. For context, this story involves my 13-year-old cousin, we'll call her Karen, not her real name, and her 15-year boyfriend, we'll call him Chad, not his real name. This story was told to me by Karen's mom, Maria, not her real name. I won't be including any of the conversations, as I was not present for them, being as they live in a city in Michigan and I live in a city in Ohio. The details in this story are what I have been told by Karen's father, Alex, not his real name, and Maria. For context, Maria, my aunt, is 32, my mother's youngest sister and 7 years younger than me. She has 2 kids, Karen, 13, and Brittany, not her real name, 17. Brittany just had a miscarriage 2 months ago. Karen, knowing that her mother has about a year left to live, with stage 4 cervical cancer, wants to give her mother a chance to experience being a grandmother before she dies. This is the context for the story. The story. 8 months ago, my cousin Karen met her boyfriend Chad at an ice rink where they both are learning to be figure skaters. By all accounts, it was love at first sight, or as close as teenagers can get to that. At the time my cousin was 12 and Chad was 14. On the night after Karen's birthday, she and Chad hooked up at his house, 2 months later. 2 months passed and Karen hadn't had her period, and she got tested at a local hospital. Initially, the test was negative, so no worry. Well, a month later, no period, Karen gets tested again, positive. This pissed her mother off, rightfully so. The talks about abortion or adoption started immediately. This leads to the only thing that I know for sure was said. Karen, no mom, I will not have abortion. And, no mom, I will not give up mine and Chad's child for adoption. Only Chad and I are worthy of raising our child. Humanity sucks. Fast forward 3 months, and an ultrasound shows that Karen is pregnant with twins. Side note here, that twins doesn't run in either family that I know of. For sure on Karen's side, which is my side, doesn't have twins, which surprises Karen and Chad. Again, the talks begin about adoption. 6 months pregnant, the talk of abortion stopped. Again, the same thing as said before is said again. Karen, no, mom, I will not give up mine and Chad's children for adoption. Only Chad and I are worthy of raising our children. Humanity sucks. Her mother, rightfully, is pissed. Her father, rightfully, is pissed. They blame Chad's father because he has told Chad that adoption agencies are corrupt, that foster parents and adoptive parents are abusive, because as a cop, he has taken down a few corrupt adoption agencies and a few abusive foster and adoptive parents. I have tried to be a voice of reason, being a father myself. Note here, I know I cannot tell my cousin what to do, since she is not my daughter. But, I have tried to tell her that being an extremely young mother is going to hurt her in the future. She wants to, eventually, be an athletic trainer and represent the United States in figure skating. She is going to have to sacrifice her dreams to ensure her children grow up healthy. Naturally, she doesn't want to hear it. Again, she says, Karen, I don't care. No one but Chad and I are worthy of raising our children. If anyone tells us to adopt our children, we will sever ties with our family and flee to Canada, where we can raise our children in peace. That's the story. That is everything I know over the past 6 to 8 months. 13 is extremely young to have a child, much less raise one. I hope your cousin is taking care of her health regardless of what she shows us to do. Teenage mothers have much higher rates of complications and birth defects. I don't think entitled is the right word here. She could very well be wanting to replace the love for when her mother passes, or looking to fill some other void in her life. This poor child needs help, and I'm not just referring to help with the babies, not to be judged. This whole thing is heartbreaking. My friend's little sister had a similar determination to have and raise her baby. Her parents strongly suggested adoption, but friend's little sister wouldn't hear of it. Cue many tears 9 months later when she realized her parents meant it when they said they weren't raising the child. They helped, like watching the baby while the mom was at school, but that girl honestly thought she could maintain the same social life she had prior to motherhood. In defense of Karen, she's going through a lot. Her mom is dying, that's something that would throw a grown adult off kilter, never mind this kid. It's not uncommon for people to turn to substances and act out. The biggest issue is that a baby can't be dealt with through rehab or therapy. It's definitely a lifelong consequence, unless she decides to put up the child for adoption later. Entitled nurse was out to get me. After high school, I started working at a nearby nursing home. I generally got along with my co-workers except one. She started working as a nurse's aide like me but went to school and became a nurse. For some unknown reason, she took a great dislike to me and did everything she could to screw me over. She'd report me for anything she could, and I was only saved by the fact that I was a really good worker. The politics and backbiting in the nursing department became too much for me, so I went to work in the kitchen. I'd be safe from my personal nemesis, right? Wrong. She kept after me there. But one day she made the stupidest mistake possible. I had been the cook one Saturday, and she wrote me up for using paper plates and for making food that no one would eat. The only thing I'd used paper plates for the slices of watermelon that were dessert. And the food was a dish that was enjoyed by the residents on the second and third floors but not the first. I couldn't believe she'd do something so stupid. If you're going to lie, you should at least make it believable. You need to get a notebook. In the notebook you write on the first page hostile work environment created by Nurse XX, then everything that has been going on. Then start writing down every time she says something to you. You note who was by you and heard it said. Your right time and date and what they were wearing. Then when you get written up or called in HR, you say, "OH, we're here to discuss the hostile work environment," and show them the notebook. Do not like them, keep it, offer to copy it for them. Then watch their attitudes change. Document everything, even positive interactions, if there are any. It can add to the veracity of the document. Every single home I've worked in, there have been nurses like this. It's always someone who started as a CNA too, so not like they never lived it, who is so far up on their high horse they feel they can abuse other workers. Document. But be careful of the union reps, they are most likely her buddies. That's really sad because there are so many other problems with nursing homes. It's supposed to be a place that older ones can live in peace and get needed help. But to have a troublemaker on staff. Wow. No telling the crap she stirred up for the residents. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.